тоже. Да. Вот так. Можно улыбаться тоже. Разрешаю. Those are the Georgian girls. And I think that Georgia is the country of the young people.
Дорогой господин Александр Кугушев, спасибо большое за все информации. Я думаю, что вы честный, нормальный человек. Alexander Kugushov 2 days ago introduced his very much special transformer, with a lot of money for electricity, gas, gasoline, oil, and any possible source of energy. He also introduced a schematic for his powerless power station that, based on his words, does not require any input energy and is producing infinite amount of electricity. This might be very hard to digest by some of the skeptics, but we have Ariel Kapenadze, who presented to me, in front of me, and also in various number of places, device that requires only one input, and then it produces electricity for free for unlimited amount of time. I've seen it, I confirm it works. And this is a device that was presented to me in Tbilisi by Ariel Kapenadze. 3 wires, 2 connected together, 1 is free, then those 2 connected to the battery for 1 second, the lights start, and then the man lifts up the device to show that there are no hidden wires. The only wire that you see is the ground wire. Another person, Donald Smith, was presenting his concept for a number of years. Some of them are starting from 1980. And then you see the device starting, that's the Donald Smith device. And plenty of others. We can mention Korea, Paula, Alexander Korea. So what is opportunity? Energy must be conserved, but we don't have to pay for it. That's what oil guys doesn't want us to know. To be able to get with the production of this transformer, there is a need to reveal one secret, and I'm gonna reveal this secret. This transformer differentiates from regular transformers by having a number of U-shaped cores that will allow to alter magnetic flux through the transformer. The red line represents magnetic diamagnetic metal that is used for that purpose. You see the U shapes? So you have 2 green and 2 blue, the red line, and on the top representation of the material that should be placed on the red line. You also see extended insulator perpendicular to the red line.
И смотрим. Вот он потребляет в любом случае.
We can see that the transformer is taking power from the grid, from the earth. We take a regular transformer, then we take 2 U-shapes, we put those 2 U-shapes to the regular transformer, and then we will notice that we don't have a power being taken from the grid. Zero.
Видишь? Лампа горит и не потребляет.
See, the lamp is on, but the power is not drawn. Then we open up the 2 U's, and then we see that the power is on again. The U's are closed, then there is no drawing of the power. Let's take a close look at it. You see the copper wire on the top of the 2 U-shapes is just for the 2 U-shapes to keep up together. There is no other need for it. But then you see 2 red wires, and you might wonder what is beneath these 2 white pieces of the insulation. or somewhere along the wire. So what do we see? When the insulation is taken out, we see something that looks like two diodes, and the connection is being made in between them. Am I right? Or I'm wrong? I don't know. Just commenting. It looks like Alexander Kugushov forgot to reveal all of the secrets associated with this special transformer. So it is for you to decide what is it and how it works. I'm only trying to do commentary on that very much unusual design. One of the reasons of Alexander Kugushov taking out the insulation from the two wires serving as an input of the transformer was because he wanted to prove some point. When you carefully look at the position of the probe measuring current, you will see that he is trying to move the probe on a part of the wire from the receptacle to supposedly diode points. And then he's changing it to another wire. And is taking measurement. So if that was to be a joke, he wouldn't be even bothering to show it to us. So it must be a reason for it.
4,5 ватта бесплатно.
It looks like we have a 4.5 watts for free.
Давай на этом же сейчас и проверим.
Let's analyze the input. And out.
Было более 225,
203 volts, 0.001 equals 2.3
потребляемая
watts.
мощность 4
He claims
6 ватт, а здесь
10 watts
10 ватт.
at the output.
Но в 50%
That equals
дешевле.
50% of the energy free of charge to every one of you guys.
Затем назовем. Сейчас
This
эта
transformer will
технология
work
настолько уникальна,
at
самого
very
трансформатора,
much
что
wide
он может
conditions
работать даже
with heavy
при
load
любых
and
условиях. Не
very
обязательно тонкая, толстая.
small load on it.
Вот
And Alexander Kugushov is now going to present another transformer which is more like the transformer
почти лучший
that
ученик. Вот
it should look like.
вот этот.
So the first one was just original transformer, and
более-менее
he showed
других
the effect. The
видов,
one that you see
чтобы
here
можно было
differs from the final product that it has a too thick U-shaped
как
course.
его удобно
But then if
достать.
you
Я
look
так
at the two
не
inner
надо, он ж какая
U-shaped
разница,
cores,
показывает.
you have a little gap. That's a gap
Здесь,
when you're supposed
чтобы
to
вольты
slide
были видны, и
the
всё.
magnetic and diamagnetic plates inside to alter the magnetic flux. We can convert that to dollars, euro, or
Можно
rubles.
было считать, сколько-то он, какое потребление,
And
какая выгода. Мы его
later
сейчас
on,
переведем
you can
в
go
евро
to
или в
the
доллары. Можно в рубли.
electric power stations
Разницы особой нет.
and
Как-
see
какой
how much
единицы
money is
измерять.
there.
Главное, чтобы понять экономику именно
There
этого
is
трансформатора.
no limit to it.
А дальше перейдем на
The most important is to understand the economy
бесконечность.
that lies
Бесконечная
that
доходы,
device.
прибыль.
And all that is because the cost of 1 kilowatt hour equals
Себестоимость
0.
киловатт равна нулю.
But for you to fully understand how the electric power station
Электростанции надо
will work and save the money,
именно с этого трансформатора.
we need to start
Он
from the
отличается тем,
concept
что у
of
него
this transformer.
Поляризация тока
Polarization of
происходит по всему
shaped
периметру.
current goes through whole
Из-за
perimeter
чего
of the transformer.
сдвиг фаз сохраняется.
That alteration of the magnetic flux allows economy
Даже под
when using
нагрузкой.
two
Вот
phase.
теперь видно. Значит,
We see 13 volts at the output and the current is 0, the light bulbs are off, the switches of the light bulbs are off. Then he switches to the input and he measures
миллиампер на входе.
0.001 of an amp. This video is directed mostly to the narrow group of his students,
Так видно?
so I'm trying to get as much as
Там,
possible
чтобы
from it.
магнитное поле не
You see the
влияло,
presence
надо
of the two white
вот здесь
insulators
поставить.
on the wire,
Теперь смотрим,
and
да, там 0.
that must be a part of the circuitry.
13 вольт.
As you see, he's keeping his tool in between the outlet and not going further beyond those
13
two
вольт
white
умножаем на...
insulators.
Эх,
So the part of this knowledge is for the students to know how the tool
330.
behaves, how the transformer behaves
Ну,
beyond and
это получается
in
6,
front
4,6 ватта.
of the
Ну,
two
округлим
white
будем
insulators.
4 ватта, допустим.
I just calculated 4.28 of
4
watts
ватта равны нулю.
on the output, and
Сейчас потребляет.
while he's trying to prepare the measurement, he's complaining about the presence of the magnetic field.
Где-то магнитное поле.
Might or might not be the
Действует.
stabilization period of the core of the transformer. The load is on. Now look at the position that he has it, and finally he would be able to reach the point in which
Больше
the
всего
meter will show 0 on the input.
потребление
Now,
меньше всего
the measurement
магнитного поля.
looks like it's true because we taking a measurement at the frequency of the grid
0,
and before supposedly white points
а здесь 4
where
ватта.
we have. I'm trying to get the most from that video. Again, 4 switches, 2 light bulbs. It looks like we have a switch on each leg of the light bulb,
Это неудобно.
and it looks like they are connected in parallel
А так видно?
together. So by playing with the switches,
Хорошо. Значит,
we're trying to add the load
потребление
independently to each leg. And
0,0 ватт
very interesting structure.
меньше или равно, потому как там
So if we take
доходы,
the initial
мощность
draw
нагрузки.
out, we calculate just a simple gain. We have a 0 input, we have a 4.5 watts output. That could be translated
Разницы никакой.
to
Там всё равно
megawatts.
остается ноль.
We just
Если эти
state about
ватты перевести в евро, получится
the
4,6
money
евро
is
в час
4.6 euro per kilowatt hour.
в этом случае.
So now let's see
Увеличиваем нагрузку.
how the measurement will behave if we have a 2 light bulbs on.
0,73 на
And
12, 15,
You see the current
8
and you see the voltage. The calculation came 8.2 watts of load.
и 2 ватта.
At the same time, we have a
75,
2.4
ну,
watts
больше чуть-чуть, ладно.
of power drawn from the input.
А здесь
The measurement
2
looks
ватта,
for me kind of
24
legit
ватта,
because he's taking
Да.
the measurement from
2,3,
on the piece of wire from
4
the
ватта.
grid to the white points of the insulation where we're supposed to have the diode.
2
That's what I
разделить на
believe.
8.
Also,
Сколько
he
это
states
получается?
that
2 разделить на
we
8.
have a
Как он
25% of the power drawn from the grid,
2 на
which
8
comes to 4 times saving 75 actually percent of the saving then would be energy unpaid, energy
Это мы
for
получаем
free.
сейчас, да. 8 ватт,
Interesting
а Стоимость это 25 в 4
In
раза
some of the
дешевле.
parts of material that I have reviewed, he also shows
8 мегаватт в
the
4 раза
exposed
дешевле, но все равно.
insulation, and he connected a probe. He was
Это
probably trying
неправильно
to
сделан
explain to a
трансформатор.
narrow
Здесь
group of his students
уши должны быть тонкого сечения.
some
Стенка
of
толщиной
other
не более
secrets
20
of the
сантиметров. А
technology.
здесь сделан
He
как
states
опытный
that the
образец, но
transformer wasn't done properly.
принцип
The U shape is supposed to
остается
be
все равно.
narrower,
Так,
and it's
12
supposed to
ватт.
be in between those two
Значит,
inner ones,
12 вольт.
a magnetic and diamagnetic material
12 вольт
that will alter
умножить
the
на
magnetic flux and give even more results.
2,4.
That 75% could be also translated into the megawatts, and that gives tremendous amounts of money of savings. The reason that he explains all of it is just to explain
28,10.
principles, basics, how
Ладно,
he
давай уже
came
все включим.
to the electric station that does not use the power. I assume it uses in single impulse,
Вот, а входная
similar
мощность
way to Toriel Capenazzi.
230 умножаем на
And then it works without
максимум,
using the
получаем
electricity. Of
20.
course, the conservation of energy is supposed to be obeyed, but if we have a doubt, then we
Это
could
будет
also ask the same questions about the Capenazzi device that I have seen and I have analyzed as much as I could. One impulse,
что
and
там
after
за
that, no
сколько это
energy
процентов
delivered.
получать?
200 watts out.
Дешевле на
Some of the doubts or questions unanswered
здесь на
that I
бочке
have
недавно
is
поставил, сейчас
that
пересчитаю.
when I look closely at him taking the measurement,
230 умножить
at some point he's trying to keep the right hand side of the
8,23
yellow
ватт, а
part
здесь
of the
28.
meter right
То есть 20
somewhere
получается.
next the
20
white
умножить
insulation on the
29
wire.
разделить на
But
20.
when I was reviewing
Полтора
the
раза
rest of the
дешевле.
material
Да?
available
Полтора
from
раза
that
дешевле.
gentleman, I've noticed
Еще
that
одну
he
включаем.
exposed what is beneath
Смотрим.
that
Здесь
insulation
на
and he connect the meter to it. So
потребляемая
that might be
мощность
one of the crucial parts. Also, when he
230
put
умножаем
the
на
meter
0,
off
сколько? 16.
on the table, then
36,8
you
ватт
see
потребление.
a little change in the current.
36,8 ватт
That might be through the interference,
на
but
выходе.
definitely there is
Мощность
something
нагрузки
in it.
4
He has four
ампера.
switches, so he's switching on the separate
28
filaments of the light
или
bulbs. I
48.
assume each one has two of them,
Итог, что-то без
and that's
калькулятора
how
не
he
считается.
maximizes the
11
load and
36
eventually takes
умножить
his
на 4.
calculations. When later on he presents his power station that does not use any external power, my assumption is that instead of the grid he's using a generator.
45, а там
Uh,
36.
it looks like sort of Colpitts generator,
45 ватт.
and that circuitry
Ну пусть
is
37 ватт.
to be generate the signal, then is later on processed by the transformer, including those two,
Что-то
I think, diodes on each leg of the transformer.
Что тут нарисовано?
1,216.
А, ну значит в 1,2 дешевле.
In any
В общем,
case,
что мы получаем? В
the
любом
power
случае нагрузка
drawn
мощнее,
versus
чем
the power
потребляемая
output
мощность.
is
Потребление
on the plus
остается
of
всегда
the pocket
меньше,
of the
чем
consumer.
на
The best example of
особенно при малых токах.
power saving or the effect he wanted to present is
Так, это
when
сейчас
he's
что за-
showing a zero power
При малых токах,
on
вот, самый малый
And
ток, потребление 0.
230 milliamps drawn, very low.
Для нагрузки
Based on his words, he needs a group of people involved in it to get into production of these devices. He presented that device in Europe. He states that Japan is very much a target, and plenty of high technology countries of Europe.
Вот в этом году нужно как можно больше заключить контрактов и договоров с заводами, чтобы можно было перевести всех во всех странах. Поэтому вот нам и нужны и ученики, и представители компаний во всех странах, особенно в Европе, и в Азии и на Востоке. Вот такие как Гонконг и Япония. Они знают, что есть такой трансформатор, потому что мы выставили его и в Европе.
Poland was one of the countries that was the most interested with that device, as they have 60 coal mines, and they would be able to save tremendous amount of money by utilizing this technology, talking about millions of euros.
На холостом ходу, без добычи угля, 10 тысяч киловатт в час. Это можно в Донецке посмотреть. Шахта не работает, потребление 10 тысяч киловатт в час. Умножить на 60 шахт, получается 100 тысяч евро.
We're talking about, say, 100,000 of euros that is right now being wasted. So 100,000 euros would be at the output, and the input would be zero.
Постоянно на входе, при этом потребление всегда остается равным нулю. Их нужно, тут всего лишь большая разница, вот добавить сюда, вот как он, сегмент вот такой, П-образный сегмент, такой же.
All that we need for that to be happened is just put at the place where the red line is magnetic diamagnetic piece of metal, and we will have desired effect. I assume that he's talking about a transformer, not the power station, which is the final product. That what we see right now is the cross-section of his special transformer. He states about the wiring that's supposed to be used. Right now he utilized the regular wiring, but then he wants to use the winding that is made from that red wire that is shown right now, which he called superconductor. Don't confuse that with the regular superconductor. This is the wire that is nickel coated to decrease resistance of the wire. And there is a Ukrainian patent that explains all of the properties of that very much special wire. That's what I understood by reading from whatever is available. Definitely it is kind of very much intelligent design. I cannot discredit that. There are so many questions that I have, but I think he's presenting something that is of interest to you guys. When we put that diamagnetic and magnetic piece of metal inside, and then we alter the magnetic flux inside, the transformer, and then we compare the power of the transformer to the power that could be achieved from the similar in power nuclear station, then it looks like this one would be stronger in performance than the nuclear station. Based on his work, transformer in this form cannot be put into the electrical outlet to be powered from it, as the strength of the magnetic field makes the I don't even know how to translate
вот
it.
этой вставки. Вот эта вот вставка такая, она одна не работает, их надо делать две. Это вот диамагнетиком. С одной стороны не придерживается, с другой. Это сразу понятно, да? Что он состоит из двух частей. С одной части магнитная лента, со второй сплав на основе висмута, а с третьей стороны вот эта есть обычная краска металлическая. Поэтому называю его зеркалом. Итак, сейчас я раз уже за это взял, покажу саму вот эту вот схему электростанции бесконечности. Она как раз и основана на том, что потребление ноль, как раз она и сделана на основе этого трансформатора, только здесь еще один сердечник, предназначенный для одновременно устранения магнитной реакции и усиления этого магнитного поля трансформатора. Причем он очень простой, в изготовлении даже проще, чем этот трансформатор. Но факт в том, что в нем нужны именно вот такие светопроводники в центре, а под катушкой должны быть сделаны из углерода. Вот посылка из Америки это прислана, что связано с Штатами Америки. Вот, вроде понятно, прислали не было, неправильно. Значит, здесь должен быть запис, который работает как полупроводник. Вот она сама электростанция Тесла. Потому что к ней мы вернемся еще не скоро. Пока я хочу, чтобы все ученики также знали про этот трансформатор и умели его использовать, зная сами секреты. Все, пока.
And with these words, he states that he wants all of his students to understand how that design works and to know how to use it. One more time, you see the sequence of him placing the probe next to the wire in various places. As you see, in the middle of the wire, you have two insulated parts underneath of the insulator, which for me looks like a diode. And the final conclusion, he makes some point.